Coming up, how to protect your devices and online presence. And later, local shop celebrates 5 years in Iowa City.
Women's basketball makes it 6 in a row.
Get ready for some freezing temperatures tonight and this week.
This is DITV News at 8:30. Good morning, and thank you for tuning in live to DITV and KRUI 89.7 FM. I'm Johnny Valtman. Indigenous parents and students in Iowa City are hoping the city and school district will improve its practices following meetings after speaking out about racism and discrimination. DI News editor Kate Perez recently spoke to some parents and is live in the newsroom with more. What experiences have the parents had so far, Kate?
Multiple parents spoke out about offensive musical program at Iowa City elementary schools where non-Indigenous students performed with traditional music, inaccurate teachings of Indigenous history, discrimination by peers in schools, and an offensive Iowa City youth football name.
Going forward, what are the parents and students hoping to accomplish in the city and the school district?
Parents told me they are hoping for the city and the school district to keep an open mind going forward. They want to accurately educate people on Indigenous history and make sure educators and officials have that knowledge as well.
Thanks, Kate. With cybersecurity being a threat throughout the country, I have more on how the University of Iowa keeps its users safe. Earlier this month, the Des Moines Public Schools canceled 2 days of classes due to a cyber attack. To prevent a similar attack happening to the University of Iowa, tech specialist Mark Stahl sat down to explain the defense system at the university.
One defense is breached by an attacker or whatever, is another sort of barrier to prevent them from accessing systems.
The defense system enables the university to detect possible hacks before they can attack a user's device or account. Mr. Stahl also provided some advice on how to prevent future hacks.
Develop a good cyber hygiene, for lack of a better description. Be aware of your actions.
Some other ways to prevent hacks is to have different passwords for different accounts, stay clear of insecure sites, and be conscious of your actions while you're online. Hacks, reach out to the ITS desk either online or on the second floor at the Old Capitol Mall. Now, it has been a cold past few weeks. Next, let's check in with Ashley now. Will it be as cold these next coming days?
Unfortunately, Johnny, it looks like it's only going to get colder. I'm live staying warm in the Adler Journalism building right now, but outside it's currently only 4 degrees this morning, and it's expected to stay in the single digits for the rest of the day. Tonight it will plunge down all the way to -5 degrees, and beware of those wind chills as well throughout the day. There is a silver lining as today and for this rest of the week the sun looks to come back out and shine a bit after staying behind the clouds all last week. This week temperatures look to continue being cold. There may be a high of 19 tomorrow, and Wednesday we might be able to expect it to even reach in the 30s. So stay warm still and bundle up on your way to class. Back to you, Johnny.
Thanks, Ashley. New is old and old is new. As vintage store Vice, Iowa City looks to celebrate 5 years as a business, and DITV reporter Aiden Wirtz has more.
On February 17th, Vice Iowa City will hit their 5-year anniversary. The vintage clothing and sneaker shop brings an old school sense of fashion to the campus. Students, athletes, and even former Hawkeyes enjoy having Vice as part of the town.
If I come in, I'll see Tony, see the guys, talk to them, and just kind of a great vibe. The appeal is just, you got a lot of newer stores, but people were just wanting that style of clothing to wear what was cool back in the 80s and 90s and keep it cool.
The idea for Vice Iowa City comes from all over, as owners Tony Casella and Demetrius Perry have other unique backgrounds that influence their love for vintage apparel.
I was living in California at the time, really got into thrifting and vintage clothing, and that kind of led me to wanting to do something in Iowa City.
I was raised in Atlanta, And being in Atlanta, I always had access to really cool clothes and fashion. That was a big motivation to sort of bring some fashion here, something here for people to be able to look at, just a little something different.
Vice is located at 312 East Prentice Street and is holding their annual sneaker expo at the Extreme Arena for the 5th year on August 12th. Kick It Iowa City is a place where anyone can support Vice and their work.
It doesn't feel like a job when we all just like have a shared love for this stuff, so it never really feels like work, you know, it's just hanging out, talking shoes and clothes.
From Vice Iowa City, Aiden Wirtz, DITV.
UI researchers have identified 3 genes that can cause cleft lip and cleft palate. From a 10-year study using patients with cleft lip or palate and the addition of fish and frogs, the researchers found that the deletion of certain genes can cause cleft lips or palates to form. Understanding what causes the cleft traits to form can be helpful in preventing them in the future. Now let's send it over to DITV Sports with AJ Reister.
Thanks, Johnny. The Iowa Hawkeyes extended their win streak to 6 after an 80-76 victory over the unranked Nebraska Cornhuskers Saturday afternoon at Carver Hawkeye Arena. However, the dominance that most Iowa fans are used to was not present. The Cornhuskers went on an 8-0 run to open the game before Caitlin Clark daggered a 3 to spark the offense.
It was a win. It wasn't a pretty win. It was, we did what we had to do to win. But we didn't really put the fear into them that I wanted to put into them.
The Cornhuskers certainly showed no fear as they went toe-to-toe with the number 10 ranked Hawkeyes. 5 different Huskers had double digits in points, including Jazz Shelley, who finished the night with a double-double. And going into the 4th, Iowa was leading 67-50. But Nebraska went on a 12-0 run to bring it within 5 with 6 minutes left. But the Hawkeyes were able to hold on and secure the victory. However, where the Hawkeyes lacked on defense, they made up at the charity stripe as they drew 20 fouls and took 22 free throws, which was double what the Cornhuskers took.
Obviously you only scored 2 buckets in the last 10 minutes. Thank goodness for the free throw line because we did a good job there, a really good job there.
Caitlin Clark notched her 36th career double-double, ending the night with 33 points, 10 of which coming from the free throw line, and 12 rebounds. It was her 5th straight game with a double-double and her 73rd with double-digit points, which is an NCAA Division I best. Iowa improved to 17-4 on the season and are now in 2nd place in the Big Ten Conference and only 1 game back of the conference-leading Indiana Hoosiers. The Hawkeyes will be back in action on Thursday when they take on number 10 ranked Maryland at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And the Iowa men's basketball team returned to Carver after a brief road game stretch, taking on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. DITV sports reporter David Consuelos has more on the game.
The Iowa men's basketball team returned to Carver Hawkeye Arena, looking to get back into the win column against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Iowa would start the game slow against Rutgers, but quickly gained momentum behind scoring outbursts from junior guard Aaron Eulis and junior forward Chris Murray. Eulis would score 16 points with 12 in the first half, reaching double figures for the 3rd straight game. Chris Murray would lead Iowa with 24 points with 6 rebounds and an impressive 4 blocks. Hawkeye fans were pleased to see the long-awaited return of junior forward Patrick McCaffrey. After missing the past 6 games, Patrick McCaffrey returned to a standing ovation from Hawkeye fans. And McCaffrey would total 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal and a block in 13 minutes of playing time.
I'm really appreciative and grateful for the Hawkeye fans that came out today. And, obviously that ovation meant a lot, and it was a really emotional game, really emotional day, and it's been an emotional couple weeks. So all that stuff, I think I'll dig really deep into it after the season. Just right now, I'm just really focused on basketball and what I can do to help this team win.
McCaffrey and the Iowa Hawkeyes will look to carry on their momentum as they take on the Northwestern Wildcats at Carver Hawkeye Arena on Tuesday. From Carver Hawkeye Arena, David Consuelos, DITV Sports.
Thanks, David. And speaking of Patrick McCaffrey, let's bring in DITV Sports reporter Max Von Gries, who is live in the newsroom to talk to us about the return of Patrick McCaffrey. Max, could you tell us more?
Good morning, AJ, and yes, yesterday afternoon was a special day for Hawkeye basketball fans across the state, as not only did the Iowa men's basketball team get the season sweep over Big Ten foe Rutgers, but Patrick McCaffrey finally made his debut back to the hardwood.
Junior forward and son of head coach Fran McCaffrey, Patrick has been playing basketball all of his life, watching his dad coach, and now playing basketball at the University of Iowa. Now in his 4th year at Iowa as a redshirt junior, McCaffrey's role has increased, and with that, so has the pressure on him and the team to succeed. On January 3rd, Patrick announced that he would be stepping away from the team because of mounting struggles with anxiety. Teammates, coaches, and even other teams reached out to Patrick, showing him love and support. One of those teams being Big Ten rival Rutgers, who before their first matchup against Iowa back on January 8th, signed a card from the whole team showing their support for Patrick and that he knew that he's not alone.
Important was it to have the support, though? I mean, the Rutgers guys sent you a card back.
Yeah, the support was unbelievable. My phone I'm still getting texts, still getting calls from people, checking in on me, making sure I'm okay. Support was almost overwhelming at times at the beginning of it, but it was so great knowing that there were so many people checking up on me. A bunch of guys from the Big Ten were reaching out, a bunch of players, and the guys that we played against, everybody would say something to me. I got to talk to a bunch of the coaches before the games, and everybody gave me that confidence moving forward that I was doing the right thing for myself and what I need to do in order to, first and most importantly, I was able to help myself and then, come back and help the team.
Yesterday, Patrick made his return to a standing ovation, and as all great players do, he stepped up into the spotlight and drained the first 3 he took.
He definitely just gave us a lot of confidence, especially when it came to the game. You could tell the whole entire crowd was with him, and for him to hit his first shot, you can't write something like that. It's really special.
And as David mentioned earlier, Patrick and the rest of the Hawkeye squad will have a quick turnaround tomorrow as they play against Northwestern after that game was rescheduled due to COVID concerns a little while back. The game is set for 8 p.m. Back to you, AJ.
Thanks, Max. And the Hawkeyes faced their toughest challenge yet this past Friday in Happy Valley. Iowa fell to the nation's still top-ranked Penn State team by a score of 23-14, but number 1 ranked Spencer Lee still dominated. And Iowa also gained key victories over the Nittany Lions from Real Woods, Max Murin, and Patrick Kennedy. But even those wins weren't enough. The loss is Iowa's first on the season, but will be sure to fuel their fire for the NCAA championships in March. Iowa next travels to number 12 ranked Minnesota this Friday. And the Iowa gymnastics team welcomed the Minnesota Golden Gophers into Carver Hawkeye Arena last Friday. It was a very successful meet for the 15th ranked Gym Hawks, as they made history by scoring 196.875 points, and although the meet ended with a tie, the Jim Hawks score would go on to be the 7th best score in program history. Junior Adeline Kendlin placed top 3 overall on bars, beam, and floor for Iowa and scored another career high. Iowa now heads back on the road, traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska on Monday, February 6th to take on the Cornhuskers. Now come back Wednesday for the latest on everything Hawkeye sports. Back to you, Johnny.
Thanks, AJ. Now, before we wrap up the show, let's check in one more time with Ashley with the weather.
Thanks, Johnny. We're looking at a live shot of campus now. And like I said, even though the sun's going to be out a bit more today, it's still going to be very cold. So make sure you layer up, have a good set of hats, gloves, and scarves, as there will be some wind that will not help out with that cold. So be ready for that as you head out to campus. Back to you, Johnny.
Thanks, Ashley. South Africa recently signed a deal to send dozens of cheetahs to India. The aim of this is to help restore cheetahs to a previous natural habitat and overall keep the protection and conservation of the big cats. Cheetahs have been extinct from India since 1952 due to overhunting and loss of habitat. 50 cheetahs will be introduced in various national parks, with the first 12 being flown over in February, and to continue relocating them for the next 8 to 10 years. Thank you for tuning in to DITV News and listening to KRUI 89.7 FM. Be sure to head over to thedailyiowan.com for all your latest news between Monday and Friday. I'm Johnny Valtman. Have a great day.